What's up Saab fans around the world, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to do an upgrade, and it's a turbo upgrade on the ng9-5. This car is getting too little time on the channel as it is right now. The rear wheel driven project has taken like the last 2 years, but today it's time for an ng9-5 video again. And this is just such a beauty. I just love everything about this car, and the road present, how it drives on the road, and just the looks of the car is so amazing. The headlights, the front, the Hirsch body kit, everything, the road presence, how it feels to drive the car, how you sit, how the line of the car is so much higher up than normal, so you feel so protected in the car. And the design with the A-pillars and everything, it's just stunning. So it's not more than right that we put some time and effort into this car right now. So to start off, I got the DO88 intercooler package together with all the piping, as you can see right here, and also the delivery pipe. So those pipes will be removed. If you have followed the channel, you have seen this upgraded turbo build. So this turbo is originally from Maxpeedingrods. I had a friend machine the compressor housing, and I have installed a compressor wheel, a billet machine compressor wheel that should be able to produce around 400 horsepower on this engine. So it should be quite an easy install, but a little bit tricky to get to. The oil and water lines we will see about, but the turbo just sits bolted with 4 bolts into the manifold. So I think the procedure would be, I have never removed the turbo from one of these, but remove the intake pipe to the turbo, should be step 1. Remove the delivery pipe, we could just remove the silicone hose that goes the last part, and it should be okay. Then remove this heat shield that sits behind, that's covering some of the turbo and the downpipe, and then remove the downpipe. Then we should have full access to everything that we need to undo on the turbo. And we'll see as I go along. So this will be a bit tricky to film because it's located behind the engine, but we will start and we will see where everything ends up, and I will try to explain the steps as we go along. So there's really not too much to worry about. The intake pipe, the delivery silicone hose, a little adapter that sits on top of the turbo to connect the silicone hose, and the heat shield is removed. And a little bit why I'm also choosing to do this turbo upgrade is because of this right here. There is a seal in the turbo that is leaking. So if I drive the car normally, it doesn't, it goes as normal. But if I go to if the boost passes the middle on the boost gauge, when I let go of the throttle, I will have a oil smoke outside behind the car, which is not premium at all. So I have been running the car like this for 4, 5, 6 months maybe, because I have not had access to the garage. So it's about time to do this. And here you can see the downpipe. I have a 3-inch stainless steel downpipe. So this has been off before, so it should be quite easy to remove it again. Remove the nuts from the top and then drop it down. Then we should be able to access all the lines going to the turbo, like the oil feed and the water hose. Then from below the car, I think we will be able to undo the nuts that sits to the manifold, and then we should be able to take the turbo upwards. You can see the downpipe out and the 2 lambdas. So this is the flange that sits against the turbo, 4 nuts that is easy accessible from above. And then the flange that meets the rest of the exhaust sit with 3 nuts and bolts. Then 2 nuts that sits with a hanger that is attached to the block. These are important to remove before removing the downpipe, because the downpipe could sit pretty hard. So now I have removed all of the oil and water lines, made a mess underneath, and I will show you how it looks from down below. Here you can see I have removed the return line oil feed, and the turbo sits with just 4 nuts. You can see them clearly right here, and you want to drench these in WD-40 and really like wait for an hour or 2 to really get the WD-40 to work, because snapping these bolts are so annoying and it's extremely hard to fix afterwards. So drench them in WD-40, then they should be easy to remove, and we will grab the turbo from above. So here we have them side by side, the OEM turbo and the upgraded one, and there is such a big difference when you just look at them like this. I had them on each other before and it looked really good seeing the comparison. Of course now these blades are drenched in oil, and you could really feel, now it's not easy to get it on film, but the play in and out is like a couple of millimeters on the old one, and the new fresh one is nothing at all. So what we need to do right now, I'm not 100% sure what I should do actually, but I think I need to transfer over these bolts right here to be able to fit the downpipe again on the new housing, because here there is none. And I think mechanically everything is okay with the China ones. They are very skilled in copying stuff, so it looks almost identical, just a few minor changes, but in the bigger picture everything is there. So once before I have ran a China turbo, and then the arm for the wastegate seized, so it just rusted and got stuck. So I'm debating if I should reuse the exhaust housing on my new turbo, just move it over, because then I will have the same wastegate, the same exhaust housing, but the upgraded compressor housing, and of course the upgraded compressor wheel and everything. I don't want to change the turbo again, but one of the screws actually stripped on this one, so I really don't know if I should try to drill that out and reuse it rather than using this. But what I will do is change the boost solenoid. On the OEM turbo there is a like Pierberg, or what's it called, boost solenoid, which is a known brand. This is an unknown brand and I really don't trust these. And if you run like one of these knockoffs boost solenoid, it could cause a lot of trouble. So So now we have transferred the boost solenoid from the old turbo, and we have also transferred the pin balls, which was a bit of a hassle. I used a lot of heat, a lot of rust solvent. One got destroyed, or I should say one got stripped, so I didn't get it out all the way. But it's okay to reuse like a bolt. It would be okay either way. When I removed the turbo, I saw that it was only sitting on 3 of the 4 points, so that is not so good, but this will be good. It will sit tight all the way. So we will run it like this and put it back in the car and assemble everything back together. I will give you one little pro tip right here. This connection is one of those press fits that sits like the fuel lines do on the old 9-5s. So it's a push type fit connection, this one right here. So what I did was I took a piece of plastic pipe, the kind of pipe you use for like electrical installations in houses. In Sweden we call it VP pipe. So I cut a piece of it and just pushed it down, and it was able to engage with all of the tabs at the same time, and then I could wiggle it out. So now I will try to get it back into the car. So now the turbo is back on together with the downpipe, everything tightened down, got the oil pipes, all the vacuum hose, connectors for the lambdas, everything connected. And before I changed or removed the turbo, I didn't drain any oil and I didn't drain any coolant. But when I was removing the coolant pipes, it was spilling quite a lot of coolant out. So once I start the car, I will get an error and I have to refill some coolant, but that's not the end of the world. But I don't think I spilled a drop of oil since the turbo is sitting so high. So now we are just going to connect all the top parts and then we will ready for a first startup. Okay, so we are ready for a test start, and this car has what's called secondary air injection. So at startup it should heat up the engine really quick. So it pushes a lot of air in the startup sequence, then it calms down. So we will start it up and hope everything works good. Then check very quick if there are any leaks. Just normal, since we have done a lot of like WD-40 around it, etc. So this is just to get it hot, and it will smell a little bit, but it should be all okay once it's heating up and ran properly. So it started up and it sounds like it should. It started up with a little bit of splash against the garage wall, but it's all good. We should give it a little bit of baby revs. Sounds really good, response to the throttle as it should. So I think we are good. So the idea was to take it out for a short test drive, but I will save that for another video because I need to adjust the exhaust tips and I don't want to take down the car and pull it back up again. But as of right now, seems really good, no leaks. Just a bit of steam from the turbo, but very normal when breaking in everything. So that's it for this video, guys. A really quick one and a nice installation. Now we got a new turbo and some testing to do. We will see if we actually need to tune the car. There is a possibility because the compressor is so much larger right now. So it might go into overboost when passing half throttle or something like that. So we will really see what happens. Might need a retune. Of course it needs a retune to get the most horsepower out of this. It should be capable of 400, but the engine has some weak points that needs to be upgraded, but we have intercooler, full exhaust, intake, so it's really, and now we got the bigger turbo, so the problem right now is the bottom end of the engine. So I think the pistons or the rods are the weak point. I think it's the pistons, but I could be wrong. But they need to be upgraded in order to push like 400 horsepower and above. So we will see where this project takes us, but now we have a lot of hardware upgraded and it's ready for more power at least. So if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, like the video and subscribe to the channel, it means a lot to me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!